everyone. I just got an alert. This is the first time I've gone live on YouTube in quite some time. So I needed to read that alert. I hope all is well. Precious S. Carter here, your favorite white coach. And I'm going to turn my skin retouch on. And I hope you guys can hear me okay. I didn't mean to turn the green screen on. I don't really care to do that. All right. So thank you guys who are coming in, and thank you guys who will watch the replay. I am just going to make this a habit to start coming live on YouTube, because I am trying to be intentional about getting out who I am, who I serve, and how I can help you um, as much as possible. Thank you guys who have subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. So I'm just going to tell you a little story about me, and I pray that this is a blessing to you. I pray that this is a help to you. I'm going to share this out. I don't know what happens when you share something out of, I don't know what just happened. Yeah, I am learning how to do this. So I haven't been here in quite some time. So, okay. Anyway, so I often get asked the question, why did I become a life coach? And then I often get asked the question, what is the difference between a coach and a therapist? And so I just chose to use today to go ahead and answer those questions, and see, you know, that to make sure that you guys have the information, and to make sure that you guys knew how to reach out to me if you so choose to. I got a new tripod. I don't really know how to work the light on it, so I probably won't be on here long, because it's gonna get dark soon outside, and when I go inside, I'm done for the day. So anyway, before I could tell you why I became a coach, I want you to understand what a coach is. So a coach is someone who helps you to identify goals, who helps to motivate you to achieve them, who helps you to develop a strategy, who holds you accountable, and who helps you with life skills. And I know you're like, that sounds a lot like what people do as therapists. So I want to give you some of the key differences with therapists. So first, I'm going to outline like the understanding of a therapist for people. Okay, so a therapist, they tend to look at your past, and they look at your past to try to see how it is affecting you in your everyday life and affecting your future. So they look back and they want to help you understand the why. They want to help you develop coping mechanisms. They want to help you develop strategies on how to overcome the past. They want to introduce techniques to deal with your triggers and the emotions behind the behaviors that you're having today. They are very reflective, and therapists and psychiatrists and counselors, they tend to see you as a patient with a problem that needs to be solved, and they tend to use a medical model in their approach to helping you achieve success in whatever that you're doing. Hi, Matt. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for joining. I'm shouting you out. Thank you, Aries, for joining. I really appreciate you. So that is what a therapist does. And so just so you know, for you guys who just came in, my name is Precious S. Carter, and I am a wife coach. I help wives rediscover their identity and discover covenant as their first calling. Hi, Dave. Thank you so much for joining me. And so I'm just here right now, just introducing myself, just explaining what the difference is right now between a coach and a therapist. So as I said, therapists tend to look into the past, and they tend to help you develop coping mechanisms. Thank you so much, Matt. I appreciate you. Thank you, Shayna, for joining. I appreciate you. They tend to help you look into the past to understand why your behaviors are the way that they are in your current life, and they help you develop coping mechanisms in order to overcome them. They're very, very reflective people. They tend to see you as a patient, and they use a medical model to, like, they see you as a patient, so then they look at you as having a problem or a diagnosis that needs a solution. Coaches, they have a different approach, especially me. I tend to, instead of focusing on your past, I want to focus on where you are now and where you want to be. And I want to encourage you to be decisive. And yes, I will look into your past, but I'm going to look into your past to show you a mirror on how these things have, I appreciate that, on how these things have held you back and kept you in these continual cycles of almost getting to a point of success and then, um, having a point of failure or a point of hesitation or a point of block. So I want to help you see this and I want to help you eliminate that. I don't really, not to say that I don't care about your past, but to say that I don't want you to dwell on your past. I want you to understand what happened and I want to help you get strategies to overcome it so you can move forward and go on about your life without being held in this state of arrested development that has kept you in the same cycles over and over and over in your life. As a therapist sees you as a patient, coaches see you as a partner, and we're here to help you pull out your clarity, to pull out your creativity, and to facilitate you becoming self-dependent. Therapy tends to be a longer journey than coaching. Coaching tends to typically focus on a specific problem, come up with a solution, develop a strategy, and then the rest of the work is on you, and we help to keep you accountable, okay? So do you guys have any questions on the difference between what a therapist and what a coach is? And again, thank you guys so much for coming on, and thank you guys who will watch the replay. And if you are enjoying this at all, please go ahead and tap the screen and give me some hearts. It helps to push this out to people who would need to hear it, and you can share this out as well. And please, thank you so much for leaving comments, and please leave a comment. So here is my testimony on why I became a coach in general, a life coach in general, and then why I became a wife coach. So back in 2015, I took a life coaching course just because I started off as a cosmetologist and then a nurse, and in my work I always ended up giving people advice. Sometimes it was unsolicited, but it helped people, and sometimes people began to come to me to ask me for advice. So I started off just coaching in general, coaching couples, coaching women, coaching men. Back in 2020, I decided that I was going to leave corporate America for good because I don't like corporate America. Everybody doesn't have to be like me. I think corporate America is great for some people, but it's just not great for me because I talk too much. So anyway, I announced on Facebook, that was the only social media that I was on, that I was going to quit my job and I was going to go full-time in my life coaching practice, and I didn't know what I was going to do. Is she? That is, that's a tough job, but I'm sure that she's a very, very compassionate person. I'm a nurse. I'm a licensed practical nurse. I've worked mostly in elderly care and in mental health. So I made this big announcement on Facebook, and then that morning I woke up to an inbox from a therapist who said, "Hey, I've been watching your journey for a while, and I want you to be my life coach." And I was like, what? Like, I went from having 2 people that I work with on a consistent basis to now having a therapist as a coach, and I was just so excited, and I told my testimony all over the place. And then the next day she emailed me again, and she said, "Scratch that, I don't want you to be my life coach. I want you to be the life coach for my practice." So this woman she still has just a booming practice in the city that I live in. So I went from having 2 clients that I work with on a regular basis to literally being overbooked, to the point that I had like 50 clients almost immediately, and I just didn't know what to do. And as a matter of fact, I really didn't even like it, because what happened was I had created for myself a full-time job, and that's obviously what I was trying to get away from. So I kept about 10 of those clients over time, and I ended up looking for another entrepreneurship opportunity, and I opened up an Amazon delivery service, and that was a very lucrative opportunity. I made more money there than I had ever made in my life to that date. And when I say I made a lot of money there, I mean, some weeks I would make $20,000, some weeks I would make $40,000, but that came with a lot of liability. And in all honesty, the prayer that I had prayed prior to me getting that delivery service is for God to give me a micro business that I can make 6 to 7 figures in, that I wouldn't need any employees, but I would just have contractors. And that did not align with that vision, nor was that industry very friendly to me. The logistic industry is pretty much a older, white male dominated industry, and there was a lot of patriarchy and there was a lot of racism. Cost me a lot of stress. And one thing about me, I don't know if you've ever watched Everybody Hates Chris, but the wife on there, I think her name was Rochelle or Rachel, she would always be like, "My man got 3 jobs, I don't need this," and she would quit. I did that even with that high paying delivery service partner. I did not re-sign my contract with them. And so I started working. I still had a few coaching clients, but I started because I'm a nurse. Nurses are always able to make money. So I started to pick up agency, and then I found a place that I liked, and I picked up agency there pretty consistently. Well, then I was offered the job as a director of nursing there, and I took it. It was a nice job, a beautiful facility. I love my residents. I love the people that I work for, and I had a lot of success there. But remember, I just told you I talk too much. Like, I don't have the ability to be quiet when there is injustice going on, and I rub some people the wrong way, and they let me go in March. Fine with me. So, because I've never stopped coaching. I also have a couple of businesses that I have my hand in, so I didn't have any worries about that. But I decided that I was going to take this seriously. I work with people one on one now, but I wanted to start a group coaching program, and so I started to like really dig deep with my coach and my mentor. And he was like, you really need to niche down. You need to decide what it is that you want to do. So I went to God, and I was like, listen, God, I don't want to just pick something like, I can help people start businesses because it's something that I've done, but I don't want to just pick something. I really need you to help me to understand what impact that you want me to have in this earth. And so I asked him to just like start to like walk me through the process of finding what it is that I needed to do. So the first thing God did was reminded me of the dreams that I had when I was a child. And what I don't mean like dreams like when you go to sleep, but I mean dreams like, like when you were little, people would ask you what you wanted to do. And some of you said you wanted to be a doctor. Your mom, Matt, probably said that she wanted to be a nurse. Somebody said they wanted to be a lawyer. Somebody wanted to be an astronaut. Somebody wanted to be an entertainer. Like, everybody had their dreams. Well, my past, I was born in prison. My mother was in prison when she had me. My father was not in my life. And then, long story, but I'm not going to get into that now. But my dream, once I realized like how much of a deficit I was at, my only dream as a kid was to be a wife and a mother. And so God reminded me of that dream. And he reminded me that he fulfilled that dream for me. I was married at the age of 20. My husband and I have now been married for 28 years. And so, okay, now I'm like, okay, my calling has something to do with me being married. It has something to do with building family. Great. I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm just supposed to be at home. My husband don't have a problem with me being an at-home wife. He loves for me to take care of him. And my children, even my teenagers, just love me to be at home with them all the time. So I'm like, okay, fine. Well, then the next thing that God started to focus me on is all of the attacks that I had in my marriage. And I mean the attacks from family, having no boundaries, the difficulties that my husband and I had with finances early on, the difficulties that we had with respect. And I mean, in our early 20s, when I tell you we used to fight, we used to physically fight like two people on the street. Now, you got to remember, I grew up, there was a point in time in my life that I was homeless. So after my grandparents died, I went to live with my aunt who kicked me out. So I was homeless for a while, still going to school, still had on my same clothes. So obviously I stunk. People picked on me, and I fought. So when I say that my husband and I fought, I don't want you to feel like my husband was like super abusive, because I probably started some of the fights. I did not know how to cope well. He did not know how to cope well. So those are some attacks that we had in marriage. We had several attacks in marriage, and they led to us separating for a period of time. Now, my husband and I like each other, and we happen to love each other. So our separations didn't look like separations that other people have. Like, we still was going on dates. We basically just lived in two different houses. We did have like periods of time where we didn't talk to each other, but for the most part, we were still together. But during those time, like during that time leading up to our separation, instead of me being so focused on him, I lost the focus of my family, right? I started being focused on having success at work. I started being focused on having success in ministry. I started being focused on having success everywhere outside of my home. And as a result, my marriage started to deteriorate, which led to our separation. So during the separation, God actually gave me a dream twice. And the second time that he gave it to me, it was like a severe warning, like, Precious, like, this is what you prayed to me for, this is what you asked me for, and what I have for you to do is definitely connected to that. Just to give you a quick snippet of the dreams, because they were the same, but they were just in different settings. I would be entering into a place where I would be going to a speaking event, and as you're walking up, like, you would see the pictures of me, like, introducing me as a speaker, and then you would see like pictures of me and my husband. And because I felt very justified when I left my husband, I felt very justified, even though I was wrong. What I understand now is that when the enemy has you deceived, you're deceived and you don't know that you're deceived. So you will feel justified, you will feel vindicated. So when God is giving me this dream, showing me this man that I really don't want to have anything to do with, I don't want to be married to him anymore. I'm like, why do you keep giving me this same dream with this man in this dream? And I will always get to a point in the dream, in both dreams, where I really couldn't move forward without him. And so what God said to me very clearly was, you don't get to make this choice. Like, there are some times that God will allow you to do what you want, but there are some things like God will yoke you up before he allows you to destroy yourself with your decisions. Yes, you do have free will, but no, you do not get to choose the consequences of your free will. So I was obedient to God and I came back home. So these are all things that God is showing me as I'm asking him to help me decide which direction to go into. So first he reminded me of what I dreamt of as a child, and then he reminded me of the attacks that we had suffered in our marriage. And then he reminded me how when I focused so much on everything else, I was focused on my home and my home was deteriorating. So then I started to really, like, when I came back after God had given me those dreams, like, he started walking me through the process. I started to really shift my focus to my marriage, and I never stopped having success in business. I never stopped having success in corporate America. I never stopped having success in ministry. But what God was showing me, when you focus here, when you take care of what I told you to take care of, I will take care of everything else. And so from that point, I began to clearly see, because not only was it me that was going through the attacks, not only was my marriage that was going through the attacks, but it was so many people around me that were coming to me for advice, even during my separation, because they said, Precious, you're just a good wife. You're still a good wife to him, even when you're not. Like, it was insane, the amount of people that were, like, hurt by our separation, who was like, yeah, I ain't gonna stay separated long. Like, this is a God thing. And so God clearly showed me what was going on. He showed me how I needed to deal with my own rejection. He showed me how I needed to deal with what was going on in my soul, in my soulless realm, in my mind, my will, and my emotions. And he processed me through it. And so once I was able to fully grasp the mission that God was sending me on, so that I can understand what it is that he wanted me to do with my coaching practice, I decided to become a wife coach. And what that means is I help wives who are Christian, wives who are kingdom, just understand, number one, the importance of the covenant that they made, the importance of the covenant that they have with God, the importance of the covenant that they made with their husband, and then the power that they have in just being a wife. When we look at the word wife, the word translates to Ezer. Now, I can't never remember if it's a Hebrew or a Greek word, but if you go download this Bible app, it's called the Blue Letter Bible. I think I have it on this second phone as well. I'm gonna look it up real quick. I don't know for sure if I have it on this phone. This phone is all cracked, so I don't. But download this app. It's called. This phone is. It's not even gonna pull it up. It probably needs to be. But it's called the Blue Letter Bible app. And if you just type in the word wife, it's gonna take you. Just look at the first time that you see the word wife mentioned in the Bible, and then click on it, and then click on it, and click on the concordance, and it's going to take you to wife, and then you click on that word, and it's going to take you to Ezar. Ezar, Ezer. And what that means, it means strength, it means might, it means wealth, it means help, it means strength, it means so many things. And the only other time that word Ezar is used in the Bible is to describe the help that God gives people, right? So my goal is to help wives really just reclaim their identity as a wife. Understand that being humble and being submissive does not mean that you lose yourself, but it actually means that you get to rest in the peace and the presence of God, and you get to use the power that comes with that in order to make an impact in your marriage and on your husband and on your family. If you impact your family, then you impact your community. When you impact your community, you can impact your city. When you impact your city, you can impact your state, and so on and so forth. And that's how you bring about change, and that's how you bring about revival. And then the other part of that, a lot of times when you hear about the virtuous woman, you think about Proverbs 31. The verses are 10 through 31. Proverbs 31 verses 10 through 31, and it might be 10 through 21. It's 10 through 31, as a matter of fact, because I did 21 days teaching on Proverbs, the virtuous woman. But virtuous actually translates to the word Kail. So take that same app, the Blue Letter Bible app, and go ahead and go to that same place in the concordance, And I'm going to try to update this real quick so I can give you an example on how to use it. But go to your concordance. Yep, it just needed to be updated. And it's going to be like, um, go to your concordance, hit the Blue Letter Bible app, and then it's going to tell you about the word Kyle. I'm going to do it real quick. So I'm going to go to Proverbs 31. Just so I can help you understand like why this revelation became so important to me and why it's literally all I can think about. I know that this is what God has for me. So I hit Psalms instead of Proverbs. I was like, that don't make sense. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Sorry, y'all. But when you go to your Blue Letter Bible app, you will click on Proverbs 31. And then you will go down to verse number 10 is where it starts. And then you are just going to click on verse number 10. And then you're going to hit the interlinear concordance. And then you're going to click the word virtuous. And it's going to give you the word Hayil or Kyle. And it says strength, might, efficiency, wealth, ability, a force, and an army, a host, forces, men of valor, valiant, substance, might. And so that lets you know all the things that you have as a wife when you are submitted to God. So I did this whole series where I just went through verse by verse explaining it to people. And so my goal as a wife coach is to help as many wives get as free as possible, reclaim their identity, and have the impact that they're supposed to have in this earth. That's it. That's all. That's all I want to do. So I have helped wives over the year, and that's crazy because the whole time I've been coaching wives. Now I've been coaching wives that first off help them to reclaim their identity. I coach heavily on vision and boundaries, and then typically most of the people that end up being my clients want to start their journey in entrepreneurship, and I'm able to help them with that kind of as a one-stop shop. So it works out perfectly. So that's it. I just wanted to come in and just reintroduce myself to people who have been following me for a while, to let you know the direction that I'm going in and why, and to let you know that if you want to reach out to me, I put some links in the description of this video. And also you can email me at info@preciousscarter.com. I would appreciate this if you would share this to any wife or any person that wants to be a wife, that you think would, benefit from this information so that I can grow and they can grow. Do you guys have any questions? If you don't, then I'm going to go ahead and get off. I'm going to be coming on at least once a week with different topics, but this was just an introductory. But feel free to, I have a playlist on forgiveness. And then if you look at the last several videos, not the last several, but the videos that I did in June, they were all about the virtuous woman in Proverbs 31. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys who came on live, and I appreciate those of you who will watch the replay. I love you, and there is absolutely nothing that you can do about it. Bye.